I know, you're excited.
My anxiety is building.
Oh, okay.
Come on, let's speed it up.
There we go, there we go. Let's welcome Brandy Wilkins. Thank you.
Back in 2000, there was this mom who was taking her little boy to his first day of kindergarten. This was not just another child starting his first day of school. This time, it was much more than that. This mom knew deep down inside that her child was a little different than all the rest of the kids. So the mom walks her little boy to his class, she leans down and kisses her fidgety little boy on the cheek, and then walks away with tears in her eyes. Within 2 hours of dropping her child off, the mom gets a phone call. It was the school stating her little boy had crawled up underneath the desk and had refused to come out. The administrators of the school had called a resource officer. He was then carried upside down the hallway, and restrained until the mother arrived. This began the journey of a child with ADHD in our education system. The Center for Disease Control states that 3 to 7% of school-age children have ADHD. And in a research report entitled The Beliefs About Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, despite increasing diagnosis, the media attention given, and the discussion about ADHD in both adults and children, many adults, including teachers, remain poorly informed about the ideology or treatment of the disorder. The term ADHD has been tossed around quite a bit. We've all heard parents and teachers talk about ADHD. We might even know someone who has ADHD. But what is it? Do you have an opinion about it? Today I will take on the task of defining ADHD and talk about some of the misconceptions of it. First, let's define ADHD. What is ADHD? According to the CDC website, ADHD has been known as brain damage syndrome, minimum brain dysfunction, hyperkinetic impulsive disorder, and attention deficit disorder. Attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, also known as ADHD, is a problem of not being able to focus, being overactive, not being able to control behavior, or a combination of all of these. For these problems to be diagnosed as ADHD, they must be out of the normal range for a person's age and development. In a journal by Janice Schleckman entitled Debunking the Myths, she explains that ADHD affects the frontal cortex of the brain. The frontal lobes are much smaller in someone with ADHD, and you will see the blood flow is decreased in that area of the brain. And in this is the underactive frontal lobe is shown in red, and this is a child with ADHD, and this is one without. And then this is an actual brain scan of someone with ADHD, and this is a control subject that is normal, and this is a child that has ADHD, and you'll see up there that the activity area, it's much smaller. Per Dr. Drew Barsman, the chief resident with the Department of Psychiatry at Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center, he explains that the frontal lobes are believed to be the central basic functions such as motivation, self-appraisal, and self-regulation, and of course the regulation of attention. Now I'll talk to you about the common misconceptions of ADHD. There's always a controversy surrounding ADHD, and it's mainly because of the lack of understanding. There are so many myths about ADHD, people just don't know what is or isn't true. In order to understand ADHD, you have to address the myths. The top 5 of myths associated with ADHD and what we actually know according to a scholarly journal entitled The Effects on Students' Learning and Behavioral Intentions Towards Peers with ADHD. Myth number 1, it is not a real disorder. What we know is ADHD is real, it's inherited, and it's a genetic disorder. Myth number 2, it is overdiagnosed. ADHD actually occurs in only 3 to 7% of the total population. Myth number 3, ADHD is due to bad parenting or a lack of discipline. What we really know is ADHD is much more common in first-degree biological relatives of children with ADHD than the general population. What does that mean? It's genetic. No amount of discipline can correct ADHD. Myth number 4, it is caused by poor diet. What we know is there's no convincing evidence that sugar has marked an adverse effect on the behavior of elementary school-age children, including children with ADHD. Myth number 5, children outgrow ADHD. Some actually do outgrow ADHD, but 50 to 80% do not. They continue to exhibit symptoms between adolescent and adulthood. Now, how is ADHD treated? There are many treatment options available with ADHD. You have drug options that include stimulants. Those actually increase the blood flow in the frontal cortex of the brain, and those tend to work fairly quickly. Then you have non-stimulant medications, which those increase the amount of norepinephrine in the brain, and those drugs need time to actually build up in the system to work. Then you have non-drug options. Brain games have been used, such as Nintendo's Brain Age, in a study discussed in the Journal of Research on Technology and Education. Just 30 minutes of a brain game stimulates the frontal cortex of the brain. It increases blood flow, and it actually reduces ADHD symptoms. In the American Chiropractor, an article called ADHD Treatment Through the SHINE Protocol touts that chiropractic treatment as an effective tool for minimizing the symptoms of ADHD. Now to conclude what we know about ADHD. ADHD is a real inherited genetic disorder. Today we've talked about what ADHD is, the common myths about ADHD, and the treatment options available. Hopefully with more awareness, people can understand this disability and be more understanding of those that have ADHD. It is now 2013. That little boy I talked about in the beginning, well, he's grown up to be a man. He's lived through all the myths, the stereotypes of his family members, his friends, his teachers. His mom dealt with daily phone calls, emails, and referrals. She left work time after time to pick him up with tears in his eyes, thinking, how are we ever going to get through this? And why can't they understand him? Today, that mom is by that little boy in his cap and gown. No one in the audience will know the obstacles he faced or how hard it was for him to get there. For them, it will be just another senior graduating. But I don't know how difficult it was, because for me, it will be my little boy finally accepting his diploma. Any questions? Come on, it's my favorite subject.
You said as far as prescribing medicine or